Welcome to Born for the Trades, a home service podcast. I'm your host, Mandeep Pala. And today's guest is Axel Romero, a rising star in the HVAC industry. Starting in installations in 2017, he joined Crossway Mechanical in 2019 and soon specialized in inspections. By 2020, he expanded into home forensics, helping homeowners combat installation malpractice. Axel's expertise even landed him in Killer House, Shemaine Nugent's 2024 documentary. His work empowers people with HVAC knowledge, ensuring quality installations. Let's dive into his journey and insights. Welcome, Axel, to our show.
It's great to be here, Mandeep.
Awesome. I know a lot of audience out there, and they're from home service industry. It would be great to know about your story. So let's start with your journey. How did you first get into HVAC industry, and what drew you to back in 2017? So let's start with your journey.
It was sometime in the winter of 2017, starting of the year. I joined the HVAC industry with none other than a man named David Small, and some maybe of the older men who have worked down here in the South may recognize his name, as he's quite a walking library of knowledge when it comes to HVAC, and he imparted a lot of that onto me. Eventually, we joined Crossway Mechanical, which is the company that I work for now, as you can see. We joined that in 2019. We decided to join the knowledge and expertise that we had acquired together with Brian Wright and his company. They have a lot more experience. I think Brian has 20 plus years of experience.
Right.
In 2018, I just started paying my dues. It was hard work, as any HVAC contractor can tell you. It's just going from one hot attic to the next, troubleshooting, working under pressure. And then in 2020, at the end of 2020, we started running into something really interesting. So down here in the Gulf of Mexico, it's very humid air, very high temperature most of the year. To live in a house on these conditions, it's very challenging. So a lot of homes evidently have not been built with that in mind. A lot of HVAC systems have not been installed with that in mind.
Yeah.
And inevitably, a lot of people have been, as they are affected by the indoor air conditions, they run around looking for who is a qualified HVAC company that can assess these damages, that can assess these installation deficiencies. And I started just running inspections in that. The training that they did here in Crossway, I would say it's an excellent training program that they have. Every Monday morning, they meet with the techs and the installers early in the morning at 7 a.m.
Nice.
Just to go and review what have we done this week and what can we learn that is new. And we just catch up and continue our education. Crossway invests thousands and thousands of dollars a year just on education alone. So
that's amazing.
It is, and honestly, it's the best thing that we can do for the homeowner, and that is what landed us in this part of the industry, which is the forensics part of it, and that's where we are today.
That's amazing. Yeah, amazing story you have, and yes, love Brian. Amazing experience he has, and he was on my podcast too. I think last year we did a podcast together. It was amazing. He has all those technical knowledge. You can't beat that. And amazing knowledge, amazing work culture, and proud to be working with them, taking care of their digital marketing. It's amazing. So that's great. And I am very excited to talk about forensic, since you have mentioned, Brian mentioned, and you have had an impressive career journey from installations to specialized inspections. Can you share what motivated you to shift into home forensics and start helping homeowners with HVAC reports?
At the big home forensics, well, that was I'll tell you what inspired me during the whole procedure, because obviously this was something that Brian shifted towards, and I'm just going to do what Brian does, right? He's kind of my leader in that aspect and learning a lot from him. But the part where I started to find my passion in it was whenever I found myself explaining to homeowners how their HVAC systems worked, which was information that they were being given for the first time in their lives. Such an essential appliance. and that we use it every day. We run it more than we run our cars, and we know way less of it than we know of our cars.
Yeah.
So having the opportunity to be that person that gives that knowledge to them, that's the part that I love the most. So I write hundreds of reports in a year that are dedicated like we do the inspections, we go home, we grab all the data, we do the reports for the homeowners. And my goal in every report is both make it as professional as possible, but also make it friendly to the layman, because that's ultimately the people that we're helping is the average homeowner who is not educated in HVAC here in Texas. So that's my favorite part of it.
That's amazing. Like, I think, as a homeowner, I don't know, or like, I know, I think a lot of stuff, but, when it comes to HVAC technical, I'll be like scared, like, what's that, man? I know you're giving your best to put it in layman language. So I'm sure there are tools, technology out there, to basically, take out that data and convert into like, layman language so that people can understand it. And do you have like, tools or technology that is helping you with this, like, home forensic? If you want to share with us, what do you
Yeah,
do?
we use every application that's available to us. Just as off the top of my head, I started using an amazing HVAC measuring tool application. I call it a tool. It's difficult to think about it digitally, but it's called the iManifold. There's
I
another,
Manifold.
yes, the iManifold, like a manifold, and then just I to try to make it like the Apple kind of a
Right.
labeling way. So the iManifold, and then there's another one called Measure Quick. I think one of the guy who designed iManifold was also involved in Measure Quick. I failed to remember his name right now, and
Mhm.
whoever is behind that deserves a lot of credit. There are some really intelligent people working on HVAC applications for the phones, and so we use the smartphone. We're always trying to be ahead, not ahead of the curve, but just try to use the state of the art technology that's
Yeah.
available to us. And nowadays, applications have helped a lot. I hear many stories about what technicians before my time, decades ago, had to do.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound fun. Um, it,
Amazing.
it, they did a lot of work, but yeah, we use as many applications as possible. There are other applications like, uh, uh, please excuse the error time, but
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Take your
uh,
time.
there's another application that we use all the time. It's called Air Max. And it helps us like estimate how much above the budget of airflow we are, or the static pressure budget that we're in. There is many others, and they all deserve recognition because of the
Right.
amount of work that goes behind them. But yeah, we use almost 100 apps probably on any given
100,
day.
100
Yeah,
apps.
yeah, because every manufacturer for every manufacturer has their own app for
Right.
their systems. So it's amazing how much of it we use. It's kind of overwhelming. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the
That's what
main
I'm
ones, yeah,
thinking. That's what I'm thinking, that it must be overwhelming, like, for you to use. And yeah, homeowners, they can't, like, use those. And there are so many manufacturers out there that, they have their own app that you have to, use it.
yeah,
So
yeah. But yeah, so we use a lot.
that's great. That's great. Thanks for sharing. I hope, like, to the listeners, make sure that you note down those apps, and feel free to explore those. And I'm sure Axel will share more info. If you want to get in touch, we'll definitely link everything in the description of the podcast.
Sure thing.
And you have worked with nearly 1,000 of homeowners. What are some of the common issues you have seen with HVAC systems, and how do they affect homeowners long term?
The number one thing that I see, the number one problem is airflow issues. Similar to you and me, um, an HVAC system needs to move air efficiently in order for it to do its job properly.
Right.
Um, and when you restrict the airflow in an HVAC because you didn't install the ductwork correctly or didn't design it correctly, even if you did install it correctly, didn't design it, now
Yeah.
you have airflow issues. And basically, what you have is less AC in your house, less conditioning of the air in your home. And again, in Texas, down here in Houston specifically, In
Yeah.
the surrounding cities, we cannot afford not to condition our homes
Mm.
if we want to live both comfortably and in a healthy environment, right? So it's amazing. It's the very basics of AC. It's air conditioning, right?
Right.
You would imagine that this is the one thing that they get right, but it's actually the primary thing that everyone gets wrong. Not everyone, the people who get wrong in the industry get wrong.
Right.
Um, and the
Right.
way that it affects the homeowners in the long run is, besides higher electricity bills, humans have a lot of research is still going on in the medical field as to how humans are affected by the indoor home environment, but none of it is positive. Not being able to breathe good air in your home, air that is either contaminated with organic growth or
Yeah.
because there's too much carbon dioxide in the air,
Mm.
or you just don't have good air ventilation going through your home. People live in that environment. There's going to be something that happens either to your respiratory system or even your nervous system. Who knows? But in the long run, there's probably all sorts of health effects. Um, so it's not really nice.
I want to give a special shout out to Rilla, the sales coaching AI software that holds the technicians accountable and gives them the support and guidance they need to maximize all the opportunities you spend your hard-earned money on.
I want to give special shout out to Grow Reviews, one of our sponsors, America's first platform to capture instant text and video reviews. If a picture is 1,000 words, a video is worth a million. Book a demo with Grow Reviews by visiting website www.growreviews.com, and you can get in touch with their sales reps to book a demo.
Yeah, it's not nice. Yeah, thanks for sharing that because there are contractors out there. They're giving their best, but yes, sometimes I think with the airflow, with the indoor air quality, you gotta make sure that that entire home is like safe with good air quality, and I think that's definitely major when it comes to designing, installing these systems perfectly in the house. But I think there are ways to actually prevent these things, which you guys are doing it, and yeah, proud of you. Thanks for sharing that.
Well, thank you.
In your experience, what are the biggest mistakes or challenges that contractors contractors and installers face when it comes to HVAC installations? Like just piggyback on the last what we talked.
Uh, I would say, I would say honestly, is the lack of education whenever it comes to simply installing a system and designing it so the airflow is
Mm.
proper. I don't think that is malice that they go to the home and they are negligent at installing the systems badly. I've gone to systems that look impeccable on the outside,
Mm.
and then you measure the airflow and it's atrocious.
Mm.
I would say that a lot of companies, maybe unfortunately, either don't have the budget or the time to invest in proper education. That's a challenge that I continue to see. Another one is more on the troubleshooting aspect. New systems that are much more complex are coming out every year.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you have to read a very thick manual to understand every setting on the system and make sure that the speed setting is good, that is sized properly for the home. That part can be a little bit challenging too. But
Yeah, that's major. That's major, and I think there are like so many companies we are working with. They have their own university. They have, and I think you also have, right? Where your entire technicians and at Crossway they go through with the training. I think trainings part of like cutting edge technologies. Contractors, technicians, they have to stay on top of everything
yes,
because, like in digital marketing, everything is changing every single day, and we stay on top of it, and we make sure that this is something new. We gotta implement, we gotta learn and implement an overall strategy, and I think that goes back same with the technicians to make sure whatever the technology is out, uh, learn them and implement in a right way, right? So I think education. So yeah, that's a big thing that you have mentioned. So
yeah.
perfect. Your role in educating homeowners is so impactful. How do you empower your clients to defend themselves against installation malpractice? and make informed decisions about their HVAC systems.
I think we talked about that a little bit earlier, which is whenever we hand them a report, there's a lot of powerful information there that they can go through. It's how, like, hey, this is the amount of air that your system should be moving, and this is the amount of air that your system is moving, right? And even if they're layman, it's like, okay, it's very simple to understand that your numbers should be over here in your system, but they're actually over here. Do we need to make them? Do we need to increase them? Do we need to decrease them? What do we need to change in the installation in order for that to happen? If we were to change them, this is how it would look like, right? Like we show them manufacturer instructions to show them this is how your system should look like versus this is how it actually looks like. We try to make it as simple as possible. And besides that, is also, believe it or not, besides the technical information, there is a lot of empathy and active listening that is involved in, I would imagine, providing comfort, so to speak, providing comfort to a homeowner. Because by the time they call us, specifically us, they have gone through so much anxiety already with their systems, not knowing, being, honestly, I hate to use the word, but being gaslighted by other technicians, telling them that it's either completely nuts, nothing's going on, you guys are crazy, there's nothing wrong with your system, but I mean, they don't feel good in their homes. They know something is wrong, right? And then when we finally are able to listen to their story, validate their feelings, and then we tell them, you're not crazy. This is actually what's going on. That's probably the most rewarding thing for us. And I think it's probably the most empowering thing for them.
That's powerful. I think one of our core values is empathy. And I think you have to understand your client's needs to see what's going on. Then I think you can help them better. And I think that empathy plays a big role. And you have highlighted this empathy thing where, okay, the previous technicians might have made those mistakes, but you're going out with the reports, with actual data. This is what is happening in your house, and this is what you should be doing it. That's powerhouse. Thanks for sharing. That's great. And now we're gonna talk about that killer house being featured. Being featured in Killer House must have been a huge milestone. Can you tell us more about your experience being part of Shemaine Nugent's documentary and what key message you hope to convey to viewers?
So it's this is more specifically in the mold community. It came as a surprise to us. We are involved with the mold community called Malachi's Message. It's an entire foundation for people who have been victims of mold contamination in their homes. We obviously focus on the building science and HVAC side of things. I don't know how mold affects the body of people. I'm not a doctor, but many people are confident that mold has negatively affected them. And again, that's where the empathy comes in, right? They have really liked the fact that we go in and tell them, well, we can at least tell you that there is something wrong with your installation. You're not crazy about that. So that's good. Shemaine Nugent reached out to many building scientists and technicians who are experienced in the mold industry or previous victims of mold contamination. And then she interviewed us just to find out why this is happening. Why is it that regardless of the health effects that mold may have in a person's body, why is it that people are living in homes with mold, right? Why is that happening? I think installing an HVAC system and insulating a home and insulating the walls of a home, didn't we do that precisely to prevent making the indoors look like the outdoors, right? We're not trying to live outside, right? So it was quite a straightforward interview. So we were interviewed for it. I don't know if we're going to be featured. We're going to find that out on the 23rd. They're going to have the full premiere of the documentary.
Amazing.
So,
fingers crossed. I'm sure.
We'll see. We'll see if we're there. I hope they got my best side. But so looking forward to it. It was nice to know that she is taking the initiative to make this a conversation topic for everybody. I think that a lot of new homeowners are moving into homes and they're getting scammed by really cheap building practices or a lot of negligence. And I think that builders should be held accountable for that, especially because of how expensive homes are getting. So
it is. The market is going definitely crazy expensive. But I think your insights to her, if that gets featured, and I'm sure that should feature, it's going to help a lot of people. It's going to be eye opening with your insights message. This is what you should be taking care of it, especially with the new homes. You're right, because a lot of malpractice and lack of knowledge things are happening. That is definitely going to be very impactful. Great, good stuff. And I think we're going to wrap up with this last question, Axel. Looking forward, what changes or improvements do you see in the HVAC industry, especially when it comes to better practices and transparency for homeowners?
I hope that more homeowners become more educated and more technicians become more competent. We have challenges are not going to decrease. The weather outside is not going to get easier for us to deal with. It's only gotten difficult, and it's going to get more difficult. So if we want to still live down here in the Gulf of Mexico, we need to stand up to the challenge. Homeowners, I hope that they are encouraged to continue educating themselves. I know that it's difficult to find HVAC an interesting topic, especially if with so many other things to learn in the world. But if you're going to use that system every day and you're going to live in a house with it every day, it's worth learning about it. And that should also help them to hold technicians accountable. I want to say that technicians also have to be knowledgeable. And I'm not sure. I'm still too new in the industry to understand at what point does that end and at what point does that begin? How can technicians get more education? Is that something that we have to do at the government level, or is that something that private companies can focus more? And if so, how do we encourage them? How do we encourage each other as technicians to become more intelligent? We are in a competitive market, so you would think that we would be better at this.
Yeah.
So that's my message to any technician that is listening: is let's be better. Let's step up to the challenge of becoming knowledgeable and becoming the best of what we are,
and keep educating the homeowners.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I mean, that they're the reason we have a job. They're the reason why this market exists. So we should give back to them.
Very powerful, very powerful. And I still remember, there was something happened with our HVAC system last year. And one of our clients here in Tampa, they came and everything, whatever happened. And I was listening to that technician. He was explaining it. This is what happened. That actually caused. And I think that kind of detailed insights, education, we should be giving to the homeowners so that they know what actually caused and how to prevent in the future. So I think that plays a big role. And like you said, this industry, we have a job, you have a job, and we are doing everything because of this home service industry. And we got to elevate and empower everyone. So good stuff. Again, I enjoyed the conversation with you, and you have a bright future, Axel. Thank you for coming on my show. And on top of that, what's the best way to, if someone like those are listening and they want to reach out to you for some help, shall we give your cell number or email? What kind of contact information we can link in the description?
My cell number is busy almost 24/7. Just even in this interview, I had some calls that I need to hang up on. But so my email, definitely, that's one of the main ways that we have to communicate with anybody. So absolutely, reach out an email to me. And yeah, feel free to share with the audience. The email I'll share with you however you need it.
Sure.
If you are in the Houston area and you need some service, just feel free to call Crossway Mechanical LLC. And absolutely, shoot me any questions that you have.
Yeah, that's amazing. And thank you to the listeners. Thanks for the amazing support and love. And so grateful to have our sponsor, Rilla. Can't wait to be part of a Rilla event, the Masters in Vegas from 24th to 26th. We are looking forward to that event. And next week, we have someone special on our guest. I'll keep it as a surprise. And again, thank you, Axel, for coming on our show. You have a wonderful weekend and stay blessed. Thank
You
you.
too, Mandeep. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a
You're
pleasure.
welcome.